Oh,
And
yeah,
then,
fuck
so
off,
then,
come.
you know, this is one of my icks when Jared does that to me. I hate when he uses that voice. I hate it so much.
Yes, daddy.
Yeah, hate it. And I can't believe I told you that because now you're really going to get me every time.
Welcome to the Out of Bounds podcast with Jake and Sam, where we talk about all things gay, sport, and culture. Let's get into it. Welcome back.
Boy.
Welcome back, baby.
So much. Welcome back. Season 2.
Season 2. Wow. I was trying to calculate how long it's been since season 1 finished, and it's at least 3 months.
It's at least 3 months.
4.5, 5. So yeah, sorry guys. We've been busy, all right? It's not our fault.
It's been a busy couple of months. Tell me a little bit about where you've been, because on social, it seems like you've been everywhere.
Yeah, so that's probably the main reason, wasn't it? It's kind of my fault. I've been traveling the world, living the dream. A lot of it impromptu, actually. Like, it wasn't the plan. So I went to Dallas to compete, and then the plan was always to fly to Australia. So me and Paul were going to do 4 weeks in Australia. And then I timed it really well so that there was another big, one of the majors of the HYROX competitions. I did the HYROX race, and then me and Paul did 4 weeks together, which was really nice. Like, we obviously spend our whole lives together, but when you live with someone, you just get into such a routine. Like, sometimes you just ships in the night, like you'll see each other, like haven't seen much of him today. Whereas when you're on like pure holiday mode, you're with each other 24/7. And that was really nice because I felt like we needed that, and just an opportunity to like reconnect and be like, what's the plan for the rest of our lives, essentially.
Yeah.
So that was really,
for the rest
really
of your
nice.
lives.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that trip a lot. And then impromptu, I had a flight home booked from Sydney, and then everything kind of changed a little bit, which obviously we can discuss, like HYROX partner and whatever else a bit later on. But yeah,
all the drama.
Hunter,
stay tuned.
Who most people probably know, as I would have seen him on my socials. He said, look, if we're going to do this doubles race and partner up, like, you should come to LA, come to Malibu, and we should train. Literally the day before flying home, me and Paul had the flight home together. The day before flying home, I was like, okay, let's do it. And then flew across to Malibu and did another 4 weeks there. So I hadn't been home in 2 months at that point, and then had another month,
Jake.
and then competed in Phoenix. But thankfully it paid off, and we absolutely crushed.
Yeah, y'all did so great.
And now I've been back for 2 weeks.
Are you going to be coming back to the States anytime soon?
I am going to do 3 weeks in May, but I'm going to come to New York, and we're going to do some PrideFit and a live podcast, hopefully, if we can squeeze it in.
Yeah. Where in the US are you going to come after New York? Back to LA?
To Malibu, yeah. So back up to Hunter's house, do 3 weeks. Everyone loves it when I'm out there. Just like the training camp, the vibes, like everyone kind of loves the partnership and camaraderie that we have. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like the whole like training camp vibes, it brings me back to college, where you're like just completely in it. That's your one focus. It's so great.
Yeah. And it's also nice, like, as much as I miss home, like I miss Roxy and I miss Paul, it's nice to live that lifestyle and be like living with your friends, basically. Like, being grown up and living with your other half is great. But like, it's just nice to be a bit of a kid and just throw weights around and be fun, basically.
Yeah. And no better place to do it. The weather is just so great.
Yeah. It's when I come home, I'm like, why am I living in Birmingham, the UK? But it's home. What have you been up to?
Our like Christmas holiday time was great. We went to Nashville for a week, where Jared's family is, and then we flew to Wisconsin for a week to be with my family, flew back to Nashville, and then drove home with the dog. So just a bit of a whirlwind, but lots of family time. We've been launching a new kind of subsection of PrideFit, which has been great. It's called PrideFit Live. So it's live classes where we've got a bunch of new coaches, and people are able to do group classes on Zoom. So that has been just kind of like the craziest start to the year that I've ever had. And it feels like it hasn't really slowed down yet.
Yeah, you've been busy.
Yeah, but in like a really good way. Interestingly enough, the holiday season is always busy for fitness, because people are doing their New Year resolutions and everything. This year, it didn't feel that busy in that regard. People were kind of like, oh, I'm over resolutions. I'm not going to fall into that trap again, which I kind of appreciate.
Yeah, I think there has been a shift. There has been a shift in terms of like fitness for life rather than
Yeah.
like just getting fit for certain things. I mean, like summer body or like the January window. I've definitely seen a shift in terms of people in that kind of mindset, and I'm glad for it because I think it's really healthy rather than it being like a just a random period where they're like, I'm going to get fit, and then it's like peaks and troughs.
Yeah.
So I think that
No, I think that's exactly right.
consistency over periods better.
It feels much more sustainable this way. And people are kind of coming to our workouts for the right reasons. I don't know if there's like a wrong reason to work out, but like it does seem like if you come in expecting for this to be something that you're building sustainably, it's going to be something that you're actually able to stick with a little bit longer. It's been a very, very busy start to the year, but I'm glad to be back with you. Very exciting.
My next question, are you doing the CrossFit Open on Friday?
Yeah.
I'm going to crush you.
I've kind of like skipped it the past couple of years.
Really?
Well, I'm not the biggest fan of CrossFit. They
Yeah.
kind of annoy the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Uh, just wrong turn after wrong turn. But I love CrossFit and I love doing the open, and it's like 3 weeks. So yeah, why not? You're gonna do it?
Yeah. I've spent a week training for it.
I
It
saw you
depends
doing
what
muscle ups.
it depends what comes up. I haven't.
No, you can't say you're gonna do it and then only do
No, I'm
it
definitely
if you
doing it.
like the workout.
I'm definitely doing
Gosh,
it. But it depends what comes up, because if like you have to do 10 ring muscle ups in the workout and then you can't get any further, I'm pretty screwed. So I'm
you'll
going to do it.
figure
Like
it out.
we got Friday night lights at the gym, so I'll be with
Mm.
everyone, and I'm hoping that it's like a nice cardio workout and I could just run around. But
I mean, I feel like the first one is always like rowing in wall balls. And so you're going to just demolish that. It's going to
I
be
hope
such a
so.
good workout for you. Yeah. I feel like the only thing that how good are you like on your hands? Like, can you do handstand walks and stuff? They
Assistant.
usually don't do that for the open.
I wouldn't think so, but I mean, I've been practicing it. I think if push came to shove, I'd just kind of like
Fall into it a
find a
little
way to waddle. Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get like a meter and then do it again and then do it again.
Yeah,
So
totally. I'm excited to do it this year for whatever reason. Well, I think I texted you this. I got like a 25-pound PR for my clean and jerk, which I've been doing
yeah, how
CrossFit
do
for
you
like
even do
almost,
that?
yeah, I've been clean and jerking for like almost 15 years. I have no idea how this happened. Well, I kind of do.
Was it
I've
a
only been
mindset
working
thing?
out like, no, no. I've only been working out like 3 days a week. And I think that it's just
Oh,
like
so you
made me
just
like put on a
yeah.
little bit more weight and I can just throw a little bit more weight around.
Also, your body's probably grateful for it. Like you're not
I think so.
overly overdoing it. Basically, like I had
Yeah.
such a big day yesterday that I woke up this morning and I was like, I have nothing. Like I
Yeah.
literally had absolutely nothing. So sometimes your body is just like dying for a rest day or some easy stuff.
Been a game changer. 3 workouts a week. I mean, I work hard on those 3 workouts. They're like a big session for
Mm,
me. But then
yeah.
I usually take like 2 days in between. My body like actually recovers. It's great.
Yeah. My volume's pretty high at the moment, but I've got like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday are my like hard days.
Yeah.
And then I'm like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday are my easy days. But then your easy days, they're not hard. It sounds really bad. They're not hard for me anymore, if that makes sense. Like they are
Yeah.
hard,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
they're
But even when they're
easy.
not hard, it's still not putting your body into a
I think
rest.
I think the
It
zone 2 running and stuff is harder
God,
than
it's
the
so
hard
hard.
workouts. I
Well,
hate it
especially
so much,
it's a lot of wear and tear. Even if it's
especially
an
if you do
easy
it
day, it's
solo.
still wear and tear. Yeah.
But if it's like the mental side, like if I'm like half an hour into like an hour slow run, I'm like, this sucks.
Have you been doing like audiobooks or anything?
I'd put music in sometimes, but like anyone out there who's like, I hate these slow runs, we're all in the same boat. You just got
Yeah,
to
we
get them
are.
done. Just get them done.
Totally. Just get them done.
So yeah,
I wanted to ask you, you came really close to the doubles world record.
I
So
think we have it.
actually, before you say anything, I just wanted to say, how does it feel to like get a silver? How does it feel to like not quite get it?
See, I think the performance was world record worthy. We were done dirty by the judge. on the lunges and the wall balls. Like, we lost 40 seconds across those two stations compared to what we've practiced and know that we're going to get. In hindsight, not like I'm pissed. Like, it's part of the game.
It's gonna happen.
But
yeah.
knowing that the performance was like world record worthy, I'm a bit gutted that we don't have it, because what we did on that day was pretty special. Like, we were a minute ahead of everyone else by the time we got to the farmer's carry. Like, and these guys are good. Like, these guys are fast.
Best in the world. Yeah,
it's the top 15 teams in the world at the moment. So I'm excited to run it back, and I think we'll be even faster, hopefully. So yeah, I would like to have had it.
To be clear, I was just joshing you. I was just saying, there's that video from the Olympics of Eileen Gu where the interviewer is like,
where he's like, does it feel like a
loss
what does he say?
that you got silver?
Yeah, does it feel like a loss?
And she has this amazing answer back to him.
I'm the most decorated female free skier in history. I think that's an answer in and of itself. So the 2 medals lost situation, to be quite frank with you, I think is kind of a ridiculous perspective to take.
She's good. Like, her comebacks and how quick she can articulate is crazy.
How does she think so quickly?
That's what one of the interviewers said. She was like, "Do you think?" She was like, "Respect." No. She was like, respectfully, like, "Do you think?" before you answer your questions. Not in like a way of like what you're saying is absolute garbage, but like, she was like, "What you say is like,
is this pre-planned?"
Yeah, like, so perfect. But I guess in those kind of situations, you can steer the question into your own almost narrative. Like, you can like prepare for the questions that they're going to say.
She was going to be asked about silver.
She knows exactly what she's doing. She's done it for years. I think she's really cool.
Also,
I wish she was part of the LGBTQ+.
But
community.
Still a gay icon. Eileen, iconic. Okay, should we go into our first segment? Jake really wants me to make like a jingle for this, and I don't know if I can do it.
This one's got to be serious. Focus.
We're jumping in to the gay news. No, I hate it. I hate it.
Mate, you're meant to be an actor. She's left.
I know. She's like, I'm out.
It was that bad that she walked out.
This is why I quit acting.
So good.
I just don't really do like the low stuff. In the gay news. Yeah. You like that?
We can work on it. Okay, moving on. This is a good article. You sent me this the other day. This is good.
Inside the Gay Tech Mafia is an article that came out from Wired last week. And it has what I think of as like a hilarious graphic to it. It is just showing like 2 men's pants and then hands coming out of the pants, handshaking with a gay Apple Watch on, as if their dicks are shaking. And some people were really offended by this. They were like, this is disgusting. And I was like, I think it's clever. I think it's hilarious. It's written by Zoe Bernard. And she did a really good job of framing what straight cis men in Silicon Valley think of as this gay mafia that gatekeeps all of the funding for their ventures. They're like, God, if I was just gay, my business would be so much more successful. And she interviewed so many straight men who were like, yeah, I'd put out like to some gay VC so that like my business got funded. And it's just hilarious. She also puts in the article that, just to be clear, only 0.5% of all VC funding goes to queer founders. Very, very important thing to keep in mind.
That's a pretty small portion, isn't it?
It's an incredibly small portion. As much as these straight men want to say like, oh, all of the gay people in tech are getting all the funding, it's just not true. And it's a really annoying talking point, you know? That being said, the other part of the article that I think is like very valid to bring up, and I'm glad that she did, is this idea that there is this like gay elite culture in Silicon Valley, you know, that they have a little bit of a club where like women and straight men are not allowed in. They cross a line in a lot of sexual ways that we probably should not be crossing in the business space. There's a very unconventional way that queer people are doing business in Silicon Valley. And the idea of saying that gay people are the only people who are successful in Silicon Valley and you need to be gay to be successful there. Oh, it's so dumb. But I found it fascinating to read about.
I can definitely see, like, I say it in like sport and other things, like you can see why gay people and gay men, I guess, in particular, become more successful. Like, if you're a white gay man, you're probably not focusing that much on having a family, like having a wife and kids. So your focus is purely on your discipline.
Yeah.
or going out and partying and having loads of sex. But if you're not into
Or
that,
both,
then you're
which
then
does
you're
seem to be what the article is about.
kind of leans into that. But if you're not, then like you're gonna be pretty hyper focused on your path and your career. So like you're gonna be relatively successful. So
There's also that component it's talked about in the Velvet Rage where you feel like you have to compensate because you're
Yeah.
gay. So
Yeah.
you end up trying so much harder, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a very real thing that we see not just in Silicon Valley, but in sports all across the workplace.
As a gay man, you constantly feel the need for validation and success, like whatever that success looks like, is one of the best ways to get it. Like if you are successful, people do respect you and give you a form of validation or credibility compared to other people.
Right. I mean, if you feel like you are down a peg because you're gay, and that means that you don't fit into straight spaces as well, and you feel like you're not as good as your coworkers or whatever, I think you're definitely going to be working hyper hard to kind of like
Yeah, well, it's a way
raise
to
it back
connect,
up.
isn't it? It's a perfect way to build, I guess, a network and people that you can discuss certain things with through success. So,
Yeah.
and then also like just naturally as two gay men, and whether it's two black guys in the office or two women that are in a male dominated office, you're naturally going to pull together with your people, aren't you? It's like
Well,
you look at society and it just happens.
this was actually a really interesting thing that was brought up in the articles. This trope has been used with the Jewish population forever, you know, saying like Jewish people are so much more successful in business when you're like, okay, it's actually a really small percentage of Jewish people. And you're like now making all these stereotypes about them. It makes sense that if you have some kind of marginalization of your identity, that you would be connecting more with those people. And then when you're doing business, you're just like, yeah, I'll absolutely do you a solid. And then you kind of collaborate together in the same way that straight white men have been doing it for hundreds of years. So like, come on.
Yeah, 100%. But that's the straight white privilege, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like not seeing that is like the whole picture, and I think that's really, really interesting. It is.
Just seems like there's going to be a lot of straight men in Silicon Valley who are giving blowjobs to try and get funding for their company.
Should we go?
No.
Does PrideFit need some funding?
No. Moving on. Let's talk about Olympics. Curling specifically.
Winter Olympics. I think there's a few different things, but we'll focus on the curling because obviously I think success story, but we can discuss.
As Eileen
Bruce,
Gu would say, yeah, success story.
hopefully Bruce will be joining us at some point. Bruce and his team, again, he has had a pretty good Olympic career.
Yeah.
Because this team Mouat, Bruce Mouat, who is the skip of the team, they have won everything. Double world champions. They've won everything except Olympic gold, which gut-wrenching is they won silver 4 years ago, so lost the gold medal match 4 years ago, and history's repeated itself here in Milano Cortina.
Silver last Olympics, and then it's weird to say unfortunately, but I think like when you're in sport and you want to be the best, I guess it is an unfortunately, isn't it? Like unfortunately you didn't get the gold, but you did get the silver. So I think like wording matters, but I think huge success, and more importantly, having his partner of 6 years in the crowd with him for both Olympic. Like it's just nice to see, nice to be able to just normalize it, and I think that's the biggest thing, like being able to normalize these things and just have it as mainstream media. And obviously he's kind of like the face of the curling team now, I think, because of what he's done and how good he is. As we said, like success creates acceptance and validation. So it's something that's pretty cool.
You know, I don't want to devalue the importance of having his partner in the crowd, watching him win a silver medal for Great Britain. I think that's it. But it does kind of remind me of that heated rivalry episode, you know, where Chip is in the crowd and, you know, Hunter brings him down onto the ice. And it was so emotional and it was so impactful, right? but Bruce is doing it for real. Like, that's the real deal, you know? And so I guess what I was saying, I didn't want to devalue what Bruce is doing because by bringing up the heated rivalry thing, but it did, bring my mind to that like, this is the real life thing. And it's actually so much more impactful that it actually happened than us just seeing it on HBO.
That's it's storytelling, isn't it? That actually happened, but it probably is less impactful because there's no music and things around it to turn it into an emotional scene. But that is real life, and that is happening.
That's
and
real life.
We are creating steps that are really, really impactful, and whether they notice it themselves, like for me personally, like that's huge. Like watching that and seeing that, I'm like, yes, like finally some serious representation within elite sport, and it's really cool.
And I don't want to put words into Bruce's mouth. Hopefully we get to chat with him. But I'm sure that to Bruce, he's like, I'm just living my life. And I'm like a Olympian who's really fucking good at curling. And like, my point is not to be this like giant advocate for the queer community. Maybe it is. But just him being openly gay.
But that's it. It's just being.
Does that advocacy. Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
It's really cool. Thanks, Bruce. You rock.
Craig was wearing one of my hoodies in the post that they posted, which is really cool.
It was so cute.
Yeah, that was a cute picture as well.
I loved it. Wait, but really quick, before we move out of this, what did you think about Heated Rivalry? Actually, I do have to preface this. So sorry. I've not finished the last episode yet. I still have to watch it.
Get out.
I know. I'm sorry. We've been doing a slow burn with it.
That's poor from you. We watched it in like a day and a half, I think. This has been something that I have done a video on it, and it's probably one of my most engaged videos in terms of comment section and people getting involved. There's something around gay men and I think straight women as well just love this, getting behind like queer stories and fantasies almost around sport and gay and all things. So I think this is probably the biggest thing I've ever seen in terms of like fan engagement around like Boots was big, but this has been like a whole nother level of
totally
huge. Like I can't even explain, like it's huge. So I think what it's done and what it will continue to do in terms of queer representation is massive. There was obviously a lot of sex and a lot of storytelling around physical intimacy, which I also think is a good thing. That is what relationships should be like. You should want to kind of be ripping each other's clothes off and things. So
yeah,
I'm kind of all for that. And I think they did it in a way that wasn't kind of like, it wasn't a porno. Like I wasn't sitting there thinking this is so distasteful, whatever. So I think the scenes were done really nicely. And for me, as someone in the sport world who spent a long time in the closet and like sad about who I was in the sport space and feeling like I wasn't going to be accepted and feel like I was like different from other people. Like I think the speech that you probably haven't seen, because I think it's in the final episode.
Well, don't give it away.
It made me cry my eyes out. Like that is literally everything that I kind of felt and sometimes still feel in a way. So I was really, really like taken aback, and I can see why it's done what it's done in terms of the queer space and why people love it so much, because it's got everything.
Well, I can't wait to watch the final episode now. Now I have like a frame of reference. Maybe I will. I cry.
Or cry for me.
I'll cry for you. It's interesting what you say about it also being such a big revolution for straight women, because I was just talking to my friend Soman, and I was telling him about, these new live classes that we launched. And I was saying, some of our members who are the most consistent are straight women. They're, allies who come to these live classes for PrideFit. And he's like, I mean, it makes complete sense to me. This is like an environment where straight women can feel safe and sexy. I think that women have to deal with a threatening environment in all parts of their life every single day. And so for so many of them, they look at this gay space as a really safe space. And so they can lean into it, and they find that to be very sexy and very interesting and very, comforting. It makes a lot of sense that straight women would love these stories to me. I guess maybe we just didn't know. Usually that's so like kept close to people's chests. And I feel like now it's just coming out in the open that like
Wide open.
so many people love this.
But I think that's another thing as well. When it's done so well,
Mm.
it doesn't matter whether you're like, it's just a story. Like, it doesn't matter whether, like, I have straight friends who watched it that were like, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to be gay to enjoy it. I think it helps because it's a bit more of your, like we said about kind of leaning towards your own kind of people. But it's just a good TV series that I think
What do you think
shows...
about, there's like a hockey podcast of straight boys who watched it. And on social media, they got a ton of attention because they're like, oh my God, I loved it. The sex was hot. I cried every episode, like whatever. And then some dirt surfaced of them talking behind the scenes where they were like, no, I thought that was like the shittiest show I've ever watched.
Really?
And I don't want to be like cynical about this, but I do wonder if some of our straight friends who are saying that to us, no, I loved it, I thought it was so good, are being a little disingenuous about it.
Have you seen the scene where Shane's family find out
No,
and they go to the... Yeah.
I'm
See,
excited about that.
That's
Yeah,
is the kind of...
totally.
That's the
Wait,
shift.
can I tell you a story about this though? We were watching it, and there are a lot of scenes that are all in Russian, you know? And it was the scene where Ilya is talking to his girlfriend. They're like in bed, and it's fully in Russian. But it's only like a 2-minute scene. So Jared and I are watching it, and we're like, maybe we're just supposed to use context clues to understand what's going on. And then we got to the next scene where it's like Ilya and his brother, and like it's a long scene. And we get to the end of it, and we're like, I don't know what the fuck is going on here. And I Google it, and there's a glitch in the HBO app where the subtitles don't automatically get added for the Russian sometimes. It's supposed to be automatically in there. And so we had to go back and watch the entire episode because we were like, I really
Doesn't make any
don't
sense.
know what's going on. He has
There's
that
quite a big
huge
part to the
scene
storyline
where he's like under the bridge. You know what I'm talking about? Where he's
Yeah.
like on the phone with
On the
Shane.
phone,
And we're
yeah.
like, I don't
That's
know
a
what's
huge
going on.
dialogue as well.
It's huge. Yeah. And I just totally missed it. So just so everyone knows, you do need to turn subtitles on for that because they're not turned on automatically.
That
It's incredibly...
performance is crazy.
Yes, it was really incredible. I've really loved... that's
Connor, yeah.
Yeah, I really loved Connor's performance. And you know when I really liked... what's the other one? Hunter?
Hudson Williams. I knew that.
Hudson Williams. The scene where Hudson is coming out to his like actor girlfriend, I thought he was exceptional in that.
That happened to me in real life.
Someone
I
like
cried at
made
that-
you come
I
out to
cried at
them?
that scene. No, I just lied and said I wasn't. Yeah, it was that scene, but that scene
Yeah.
wasn't realistic because I lied.
Yeah, I think most people would have lied. I don't think that most people really would have come out.
That
in
was
that
a
moment,
nice scene,
but
though. I really enjoyed
it was
that.
really nice. Yeah, I loved
That
it.
made me cry again.
I like Chip and Hunter's story more than I like Ilya and Shane's story. No,
You just want someone to make you smoothies.
Jared makes me a smoothie every morning, so I think I already have that.
Really?
It's so sweet.
Cool. What the fuck? Where's my
Yeah, what the
fucking smoothie,
fuck,
bitch?
Paul? In terms of the sex thing, I actually think it is really good for it to be on HBO. Kind of like what we were talking about with Bruce. It's just like representation. And, you know, I feel like people will never get over the idea of having gay sex on their television until they like see it, gay sex, until seeing like men having sex with men on their television until it's just more commonplace.
I agree. Guys, Sam says that I need Botox. He's been in America for too long. Americans love putting things in their face.
I didn't. Really? You don't like putting things in your face?
No, I love putting things on my face.
I did not say that you needed Botox. I asked you what your thoughts were about it because I think we should probably talk about it on the podcast. Right?
Remember those kids at school that used to like flip their eyelids?
I can do it. I'm not going to
Shut
do it
up.
here.
Do it.
I can.
How do I do
My
it?
eyes are really sensitive.
You just said you could do it. Prove it.
I can do it, but I'm not
Do
going
it
to
then.
No.
I don't believe you.
Have we ever discussed my really stretchy skin?
Whoa! You look a bit like the stretchy guy in Fantastic Four.
100%. Yeah. It like is really stretchy. I think I
Oh,
have a
it's pretty
form of
stretchy.
Yeah. I have a form of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome where you have like really flexible
It looks
joints
really
and, like,
weird
the
on there, though,
Skin
doesn't it?
just like really. Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
I don't
Anyway.
have that, though. Kink of the week.
You want to try it one more time?
Kink of the week.
Oh, I love it. Great.
Kinky winky. This week is from the fans, and it is bondage or BDSM. Mm-hmm. Are you into it?
Am I into bondage? I think I need to experiment more with it. It doesn't immediately come to mind as something that I'm like, yeah, I love that. I guess if I was more interested in it, I would have tried it sooner.
I think there's levels, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like,
so
I would say I'm on like level
bondage,
1.
discipline, dominance and submission, and then sadomasochism. And
Yeah.
I would say like,
What does that actually mean? Because that sounds kind of scary.
yeah.
Say tendency to derive sexual gratification from one's own pain or humiliation. Kind of leads into that like cash pig findom stuff, doesn't it then?
Which I actually heard a new name for this. Cash fag.
Cash fag. Are you a cash fag? You look like a cash fag.
Somewhat. You know what? You need to stop being mean to me, okay? A friend of mine was just called a cash fag, and that was a new phrase for me. So here's the thing.
Sadism is infliction, and masochism. How do you say it?
Masochism.
Is reception. So receive it, whereas the sadism is physical pain, humiliation, or physical restriction.
I think I've said this before. I shut down from pain. I don't find.
Yeah, you're not into pain.
Yeah, I like it actually like actively turns me off. I don't feel neutral about it. I feel actively negative. I don't like pain in a sexual environment. And I know that's completely different for other people. Other people really do. That is, I think, what has kept me from exploring more BDSM stuff.
I think I agree.
Okay, well, you can't just agree.
No, like I'm thinking.
Piggyback off of my
I can't just
very vulnerable.
I can't. My brain can't think this fast, and I also have to be careful about what I say because Paul will kill me if I say
Did you
things
ever
that are
find out
inappropriate.
about the foot thing?
I don't think so.
Paul is going to kill me.
I'm pretty sure though because it went on my main Instagram, so and he definitely like sees what goes on there.
Actively scrolling past it. I can't watch this one.
I'm gonna fuck the foot.
This is from the podcast.
Right. Okay, on the
Yeah.
on that, I think there's levels. Like I think I'm like level 1 in terms of like I like a good like, but that's like stimulus though. Like I like a good nipple squeeze or whatever. So I don't feel like there's like I don't feel like that kind of fits me into that category.
What about the feeling of like you're tied up so you can't move?
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm claustrophobic.
I mean, yeah, and I think I'm
like
kind
the
of
fear
a
of like
freak.
not being able to like if I'm like pinned down completely like that. You know when you have dreams about like a nightmare would be me like being tied and I couldn't move my legs type thing.
What if there was a fire and Jared just left? You know?
Yeah.
I'm not putting myself in that position.
Maybe just like handcuffs because that's kind of just like
You could still run
fantasy,
with handcuffs.
Yeah.
Well, except for if you were like handcuffed to the bed.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that. That gives me no pleasure. That wouldn't turn me on.
But we would like to follow up with this. If you want to send us like a voice note or why BDSM does turn you on, we're interested. Send those our way.
Yeah, we actually got told off because we didn't have enough information or like someone's experience on one of the kinks previously. Because we haven't necessarily explored them, we can't give our own opinion. So we would love to have someone's opinion or a completely anonymous voice note of someone who like why they do it, what they find sexual about it, or their experience, or like a funny story essentially around it.
Or if you kind of understand these kinks a little bit more, like why you would try them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The LGBTQ&A.
Q&A. Hey.
That's better. LGBTQ&A.
Hey. What's your questions for us, bitches?
So you put on your story kind of a general question box, right? I forget what it was.
I did. Just a general one, like give me some topic, give me some kinks.
Yeah. And what did you get back?
Quite a few. I'm going to just check quickly before I see if there's any good ones that have come. How do we join PrideFit workout when visiting New York City?
Our workout for March is sold out already. We got to figure out how to get more people in there.
No, nothing else really. Latex vacuum suit? Didn't I
think
send
that
you a
you would
video?
look great in that. Yeah.
That was crazy. There's no fucking way I'd get in there.
Hey, if I ordered you one, would you put it on?
No, that video I sent you with the pink one where they were like...
Yeah.
Nah. I'd wear I mean, I would if someone like if Paul wanted me to wear like latex leggings or whatever, like I'd do it, but I'm not getting.
Does he?
I'm not getting sucked
Does
down
he
to a
want you
bed
to
and that guy had a
wear latex
snorkel in his
leggings?
mouth. Maybe. No, but no, I couldn't do that.
I'll try and get you one. Anyway, hit me with some questions.
Where do you feel most safe being visible versus where don't you? Was one.
I will say, being in New York, I feel very safe. Being like with PDA, being out. It seems like 50% of the population in New York is gay. It really does.
Yeah, I would say it's very gay, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it is very gay. I do think so. I think anywhere, any big city, especially in like the central areas, like if you go to London, you go to Soho, like everyone's seen everything. So there's no real surprises.
Or it's like the straight women who like would come to your aid immediately. You know what I mean? Like those straight women who are just looking for like some straight guy to beat up because he's being homophobic, you know, like
I think it depends. I do think it depends where you are. Like there's certain environments where you probably just naturally, I always find that sometimes you'll just let go of each other's hands, for example. But that's just even if like someone's walking towards you, like it's just you both do it. Like it's not one or the other doing it. It's just a thing. I wish I didn't do, like it's something that's part of my brain and whatever, but I wish I didn't do that. And even though I'm confident and so openly gay, I really wish that I didn't have those little things inside where I was like, why did I do that? Like, why am I nervous for someone to see me and Paul holding hands? Like a straight couple wouldn't do that, would they? They
Right.
wouldn't look and feel like, let's like let go and then hold hands again once they walk past.
Yeah. And that, I will say for myself as well, happens more times than I want it to happen as well. Like it just,
It's crazy, isn't it?
you just let go. I don't.
If anyone has any help on that, let us know. But I think everyone does it. Or like every gay couple. Maybe there's a few that don't, but I just think it's an ingrained thing that it just happens.
I think so.
But do you not think that's an element of shame? Surely,
Definitely.
Like, surely there's
definitely.
an element of.
Maybe Gen Z won't have it.
It's crazy. I wish it didn't happen. Even the little things like when you go to the barber. Like I went to a barber in America when I was out in Phoenix, and I was like, can't be asked to be like I'm gay, so I just like almost pretended I was straight. He was like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" And I was like, "No."
It's always that. Do you have a girlfriend? No.
But they were like, "Oh, you must." Yeah, I was like,
I mean, in those situations, I also like don't want to go through the trouble of like coming out. Like that's something that I feel like we talk about sometimes. This idea that you don't just come out once, you come out thousands of times throughout your life. You know, yeah, you may have only had to come out to your parents once, but like you have to come out to the new person at work all the time. You have to say like, "Hey, my husband," new friends, new people at the gym. Like you're coming out constantly, and it gets easier, but it's never like, yeah, this is super fun, you know?
Yeah, I get it. But we were like, I think that's the perfect reason why this person's asked that question, because it's obviously something that they might feel vulnerable about and have exactly the same thing. So it's nice, I guess, to know that we also both go through exactly the same thing. Other question was thoughts on pressure in the queer community around drinking. So alcohol consumption and partying, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't think it's just a gay thing though.
No, it's
Like,
definitely not
I've
just
always
a
been
gay
peer
thing.
pressured from when I was like, I drunk at uni, but I don't drink really. Like I don't enjoy the taste of it. I don't like being hungover. I obviously train as an athlete. That's kind of like a number one priority. Like I'll go out and have a couple of drinks with friends if it's like an occasion or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've been very much like, I don't drink from the age of like 16. Like I've never really enjoyed it. At uni, we drank a lot because it was just fun, and it's very hard to fit in if you don't. But I think once you get past the age of like, well, maybe not in America, but 21 in the UK, you got to own it. Like if you don't want to drink, don't fucking drink. Like you can still go and have fun.
I think that's right. I mean, I've had a huge problem with this. I am in the same boat where I don't drink a lot at all. I don't like the taste of it as well. I don't like being hungover. But it's challenging when there is a stigma that if you don't drink, you don't do drugs, that you are quote unquote boring. Like, why are you only focused on working out? Why are you only focused on work? Why, and it's such a cop out for people to say that about you. Like, oh, you're just boring. You're like in bed by 9 p.m. on a Friday. But it's like, okay, well, drinking is super expensive. It is not good for your health. there's no way for us to get around that, unfortunately. Like, yes, you absolutely can drink responsibly and you can still be a healthy individual, but there's nothing positive about drinking for your body. I think there is a lot of pressure. I don't know. I don't have an answer for this.
I've been to a few, especially in the gay space. Like I've been to like the Attitude Awards, which is like it's a celebration essentially of people's successes within the queer space. But there's alcohol on the table, and gays love a drink, so people are getting pretty drunk, and I'm sat there with my water or my lemonade or whatever I'm drinking, and by the time it gets to like 8-9 p.m., I'm pretty much checked out because everyone's very drunk. And it does make you feel an element of like, I wish everyone here wasn't drinking. But I do think it's a shield for a lot of people. I think it allows an element of confidence and not boldness, and I don't want to put that on people to be like that, but it's an element of like, it's a safety blanket because of whether it's lack of confidence or whether it's, I do think people drink for those reasons more so for the fact that they really like it, especially in those types of environments.
I absolutely use drinking as a social lubricant when I'm going to an event that I'm insecure about or that I'm uncomfortable in, or I don't really want to talk to people, but I know I have to. Absolutely. 2 drinks, and that is a completely different story. Using it in that way, I think in like instances, fine. If it's something that is chronic, then that's where we run into a lot of issues. I also have not felt the need to completely take it out of my life. And that is just really dependent upon the person, because some people absolutely need to just abstain because they can't figure out what moderation is for them. And I feel like that's where you can't really make any blanket statements with alcohol.
Yeah, I don't like to judge anyone. Like I feel like it can come across as like, if you don't drink, then you're judgy of people that do drink. Like I'm all for it. Go and get drunk. It's a personal preference and a choice that I don't in those environments and situations. So I feel like I don't want to be like, don't go and drink. It's so bad for you. Like life is moderation. And if you're like going out and having a couple of drinks, go and do it. But I just think for me, it's something that I've done for so long that I'm so used to just being like, I'm just going to have a blackcurrant and soda. That's my drink.
But okay, do you have a different perception about like hard drugs?
I've never touched any. I've never touched. The only thing I've ever done is weed gummies, like edibles, and I tried to smoke a like joint before, and I just couldn't. I was like, this. Well, I didn't even know how to get high. I didn't even know how to smoke it. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I was in the exact same boat. Yeah.
I don't know. It's not me being like, I'm better than everyone else. Like, it really isn't. I have never been drawn to it. And I don't like the fact of putting like things that I don't know what they are into my body.
Yeah.
So I've always been anti it. And it's been a big thing in terms of losing friends for me.
Yeah.
I speak to maybe 1 or 2 of my friends from school. Like, I don't speak to any of them anymore. And a large reason is because of that, because they would go out and party and drink, and that's the way that they would connect socially. And it was really hard. Like, it upset me for a pretty long period of time, because when they would then do certain things like go and play paintball or whatever, I then wouldn't be invited still. And I was like, I'm only not coming out because you're like sniffing lines of coke and doing whatever
Are you doing
else.
coke at the paintball place?
Probably. But I don't know. It was something that it definitely, that was the biggest barrier to my friendship with my school friends, that I now I no longer have any communication with them at all. So I think there's an element of, for this person in particular, whether they feel exactly the same way, it's very hard to make friends as an adult. It's really difficult. So losing those like core friends that you have is a really hard thing to let go. But sometimes it could just be the best thing for you, because if those environments aren't right for you and it's a constant every time, and they don't make any sacrifice or compromise to allow you to have a social like interaction with them without alcohol, without drugs, then that's on them. That's them not being good friends.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there should be balance. Like, they should be able to go and do those things. I'm not like saying that at all. But if you're the friend that doesn't drink, if they're a good friend, they're going to make sacrifices and not go and chase getting high all the time and spend time with you as a person.
There was a New York Times opinion video that came out that was about body positivity. It was this woman who was kind of at the forefront of the body positivity movement. And she's like, I watched a couple of my friends pass away because of not taking care of themselves and having heart attacks. Being body positive and also saying that like I need to be concerned about my heart and my lung health, that basically like these things don't have to be mutually exclusive. I do feel kind of similarly about the drug conversation in that I want you to have fun. I don't want to shame you for the way that you kind of de-stress and the way that you party and whatever. And us ignoring the conversation about how addictive these drugs are and how it's a pretty slippery slope and how you can really think that you don't have a problem until you do. I don't want to do that. As people who kind of like work in health, I'm not really interested in being like, yeah, I love that you do cocaine, even if it's just like quote unquote recreationally, which is a hard place to kind of come to because then it does very much feel like I'm shaming people or, you know, a prude or whatever. But the hard drugs thing is a completely different conversation to me than the alcohol thing. And us normalizing it and
But
just
is that
saying like,
only because alcohol is so normalized?
yeah, yes, probably. Right. I think alcohol is actually more
'Cause it's still a
addictive
drug.
than most of those like cocaine, meth, whatever, right? I don't want to like get wrapped up into saying like, "Oh, these drugs are okay," because I'm afraid that I'm going to like piss someone off that I'm like a prude and I don't do drugs. You know what I mean? I think that's dumb. I'm not really interested in having that conversation.
So there's your answer. That was quite a long
There's your
answer, to be
answer.
fair.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Jake, what are you doing this week? What does your week look like?
I'm buying a house.
Fucking God, that's
I
so
feel like such an
exciting.
adult. I went to my first house viewing yesterday.
Maybe this is different in the UK. When you say that you're buying a house, are you just like starting to look, or like no, you like basically know
No,
what
the
house you're buying and like you
the
know?
process.
Okay.
So we've got to sell this house,
Uh-huh.
and then we need the cash from this house to buy another house. But we've had a mortgage approved, which means the bank's like, yeah, you can have money because we trust
Yeah.
that you're going to be able to pay us back. So we've had the mortgage approved. We're selling, and then we're going to buy. And we viewed a house today, which I really like.
What is the process like in the UK right now in terms of, is it super competitive? Is it really hard to sell a house? Is it really hard to buy a house right now?
It depends on the price bracket. Like
Okay.
a price that's in like the 400 to 500 region should sell pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then if you're trying to sell a house that's like really expensive, people just don't have that kind of cash really. So
Yeah.
it's those are harder to sell. But we should be able to sell this relatively fast. We're hoping because
Yeah.
it's right next to the city in terms of Birmingham, the second biggest city in the UK. So
Should I buy
should
it?
be.
I can come and hang.
Well, we're moving away from here.
But you're still going to be in Birmingham, right?
Like 25 minutes out in the
Okay.
countryside.
In
with
the
all
country?
with all the fields.
Wait, actually?
Yeah.
Wait, send me pictures. Do you use
Yeah,
Zillow?
I'll send
Does
you.
the UK use Zillow?
No, use Rightmove.
Okay, well, maybe just send me
I'll
some
send you a link.
screenshots then.
I'll send you a link. Send you a video.
That's so exciting.
yeah.
We've been looking for a house for the past couple of years, and it's just like a slow ass process here.
In New York, or
No, we want to move upstate.
do you even have houses in New York?
Yeah, I mean, people buy apartments in New York all the time. We
They
just
must
don't
be
want to.
so expensive. That's crazy.
They're really expensive. I mean, we always want to be in New York, but we're both from Wisconsin. Like we want land. We want space.
Yeah, land is
Fresh air.
king. Other than that, just heavy training now till Stockholm, and the CrossFit Open is pretty big. It's gonna hurt a lot.
It's gonna hurt.
I'm not
I
really
know.
prepared for the pain, really. But I got
Yeah.
a big workout tomorrow, CrossFit Open on Friday, and then just crushing life, to be honest. And podcast is back, so my whole focus is just on the podcast, to be honest.
Just on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the Open this week, and we have a bunch of new hires for PrideFit. So kind of training new people and bringing new people on the team. It's exciting.
Exciting. Well, that wraps us up. Again, if you have any stories, you can send us via voice memo. That would be awesome. Hope you've enjoyed episode 1. Sam, it's been a pleasure. I've missed you.
It's been such a pleasure. Miss ya. Stay tuned. We might send out a Typeform link because we want our producer to look at some of your questions beforehand and give them to us blind because I want to see some of our reactions. So keep an eye out for that.
Other than that, peace. Be kind.
See ya.
Stay sexy. Fuck bitches. Get money. All that shit.